This remote island is home to a tribe that kills people. The island is called North Sentinel, and the people who live there have spent thousands of years shutting the outside world out. Boats that come too close are met with a rain of arrows. Even helicopters flying overhead have been targeted. Examples of these murders will be later in the video. But why do they hate outsiders this much? Well, it goes back to their very first encounter with the outside world, which for them ended terribly. In the late 1800s, during the time of British colonial rule, a man named Maurice Vidal Portman, a British officer, landed on this island with an armed group. He didn't come to make peace. He captured 6 members of the tribe, an elderly couple and 4 children, and took them to the nearest colonial base. The result was tragic. The old man and woman quickly fell sick and died, likely from diseases their bodies had never been exposed to. Fearing the same fate for the children, Portman returned them to the island and left. That was over a century ago, but for the tribe, it left a scar that never healed. And ever since then, every outsider has been treated as a threat, making this island one of the most dangerous places on Earth. But where exactly is this place? Well, if you were standing in New Delhi, India's capital, and you traveled more than 1,200 kilometers southeast, you'd end up in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, a remote chain of islands owned by India. This island, known as North Sentinel, is one of the smaller islands here. It's about 60 square kilometers, shaped like a rough oval, and wrapped in a band of white sandy beaches. Beyond those beaches are dense tropical forests, and around the whole island are coral reefs. These reefs make it dangerous for large boats to come close, and in the case of North Sentinel, that's a blessing for the people who live there. It keeps strangers at a distance. From the air, North Sentinel looks like a paradise. Clean waters, unspoiled jungle, no buildings, no smoke, no traffic. It looks like the perfect island to escape if you wanted peace and quiet. But the moment you get too close, everything changes. The first thing many visitors see are figures on the beach. Small, quick-moving shapes against the bright sand. They might be men standing in a line holding longbows. Sometimes they wave, but not in greeting. They wave to warn you to leave, and if you don't, the next thing you'll see are arrows flying toward you. No one knows exactly how many of them there are, but what we do know is that they live the way humans lived thousands of years ago. They build small huts with palm leaves. They hunt wild pigs and birds in the jungle using handmade bows and spears. They fish in the shallow reefs with simple canoes carved from tree trunks, and they wear little to no clothing. Their tools are basic, their language is unknown, and their way of life has stayed the same for generation after generation. They have no internet, no electricity, no roads, and no written history. But they do have one thing: a complete and determined rejection of the modern world. In fact, due to the dangerous nature of this place, the government of India banned people from visiting this island, declaring it as being off limits. For those who have managed to get near the island, they've been met with very hostile resistance. For instance, in December 2004, a massive earthquake under the Indian Ocean triggered a tsunami that devastated coastlines across Asia. Indian authorities sent helicopters to check on the Andaman Islands, including North Sentinel. As the helicopter hovered over the island, looking for survivors, a man emerged from the trees. He stood on the beach, raised his bow, and fired an arrow at the helicopter. The message was loud and clear: "We are alive and we still don't want you here." 2 years later, in 2006, 2 Indians set out to fish illegally in the waters near North Sentinel. They knew it was forbidden, but crab fishing near the island could bring in good money. That night, they anchored their small boat just outside the reef and fell asleep. As they slept, the tide silently pulled them closer to the island's reef, and by the time the morning came, they had drifted too close. The Sentinelese saw them and acted quickly. The fisherman was struck by arrows, and the details of what happened next aren't fully known. But when the Indian Coast Guard sent helicopters to recover the bodies, the tribe was waiting. They stood on the sand, armed, warning the aircraft away. The bodies were never retrieved, and to this day, the fishermen lie buried somewhere on the island, claimed by its sands. Perhaps the most famous case came in November 2018. John Allen Cho was a 26-year-old American missionary. He believed he had a divine mission to bring Christianity to the Sentinelese. Despite knowing the island was off limits, he paid local fishermen to take him close enough to paddle ashore in a kayak. On his first attempt, he shouted greetings, tried to speak to the tribe. They responded by firing arrows, one of which lodged in his Bible. He retreated to the fishing boat, but instead of leaving, he wrote in his diary that he felt compelled to return. The next day, he tried again. This time, the tribe surrounded him. The fishermen, watching from a distance, saw them shoot arrows. Cho's body was dragged along the beach. The fishermen fled in fear. His body has never been recovered. To many people, the Sentinelese seem brutal, killing strangers without hesitation. But history gives a different perspective. When outsiders have contacted isolated tribes in the past, the results have often been catastrophic. Diseases like measles, influenza, and smallpox can wipe out entire communities that have no immunity. The Sentinelese may not know the signs, but they know the outcome. Strangers bring sickness, and every time they have allowed contact, it has ended badly for them.